Well, we know what that is.
I certainly do.
And it does have the Jack Hilton sound, so without a doubt it is his band.
Yeah, so the singer gives it away, doesn't he?
Yes, definitely.
I've heard him. I mean, it's not Jack Hilton himself, though, is it?
Yeah, it's not Jack Hilton. It might be Sam Brown or someone like that.
Someone like that, yeah.
Yeah, who sang with the band. But, yeah, there we go. Nice to have a mystery record. I'll see if there's any others like that for future missions. We'll put them aside. Anyhow, we've got a few jazzies. What's the time now? It's 5:23. So how long have you got, Frank?
About 5 minutes, I think, and I better go.
Okay, sure. Understood. You need to get ready. Okay, well, I'll give you a choice then. We've got Benny Goodman Trio, Lady Be Good, or China Boy. And we've got here a Columbia Swing Music Series, South Rampart Street Parade with Jimmy Dorsey, bit of trad revival. I've got a Bing Crosby here. I played one side last night. It's Joe Daniels and his Hot Shot and Drumnastics, Chinatown, or In the Shade of the Old Apple Tree, which I know Mr. Stew is aware of. They're the ones I've just quickly grabbed off the shelf. Any thoughts?
Yes, I think we might perhaps go with the Benny Goodman.
Okay, sure. Yeah, we'll hear the trio. China Boy or Lady Be Good?
Don't know China Boy. Let's do China Boy.
Okay, China Boy on the table. Let's hear the Benny Goodman trio, which I presume is Lionel Hampton and Teddy Wilson. Maybe. Or Gene Cooper, maybe.
Teddy Wilson.
Yeah, Teddy Wilson and Gene, I think.
You bet.
Probably one of the better Benny Goodman records I've heard, actually. I thought that they really had it going there.
Well, yes, he was with class. Teddy Wilson sure was great, wasn't he?
Oh, he was. He has this ability just to bring everyone together. He's like the glue.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's unassuming. And you need people like that. You need musicians who just understand the pulse and galvanise.
That's right. I mean, even if he's not doing a solo, he's just doing great stuff in the background.
Yes, he just brings it together. He just fills them with the right textures, just to sort of need. You could hear Goodman responding to him on that too.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah, it was great. And it's really nice to hear. We'll play the other side. I think we'll just continue. Hear Lady Be Good.
I'll continue to listen, but I think I better sign.
Yeah, look, understood, Frank. Totally fine. Have a great night. Enjoy the cricket.
I'm quite looking forward to it, mate. I think my elder granddaughter's going too.
Oh, tremendous. Okay. Well, have a lovely night out, and you'll be report on it tomorrow.
Right, the sports report.
Give us the sports report.
We
Yes.
cover all the bases here.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Space for everything here. Our test program. Good on you, Frank. Have a lovely night.
Thank you, Steve, and you
All right,
too.
yeah.
And 7-3 to all the listeners.
Indeed. All right.
K3JR clear.
And vk3sl. Continuing with the Muzak. There's been a Goodman Trio and a classic song, Lady Be Good. And it's really good to hear the trio diminutive forces that's at play there. And of course, there's so much chamber jazz. Care of Mr. Goodman. He recorded under with various small groups, usually with the same core of players, including Teddy Wilson and Gene Krupa. So I first found another one. This one's on a parlophone, and this time we hear Benny Goodman and his sextet. And the name of this track is Flying Home. I'm vk3sl, and we are testing. Goodman and his sextet there. And we're testing on 160 metres and on UHF and also streaming online. The streaming service took a little while to get going today. Every so often it decides to default to a non-existent sound card. So yes, the settings do need to be checked. But they're back on board and we do have a service. Okay, something a little different. This is from the Vaults. It's a 33 vinyl radio transcription-y snippet. What is it called? Operation Youth. I think it's to do with some sort of feature, but we'll find out more. We'll do a sample. They're very short tracks, so we might play a few, but I think we are in the right turntable. So all it takes is a push of the button.
Who said that? An ounce of wit is worth a pound of sorrow.
Cervantes in Don Quixote.
Not really. Oh, he used it, but he didn't originate the saying. It's an Old English proverb with an obscure history, and the first true use of it in the English language was by Richard Baxter in Of Self-Denial.
Okay, in the spirit of educational missions, I reckon we'll play a few more of these. We can give them a nudge. They're lock grooves, so it just takes a little bit of a kick, and we'll hear something else from this series. Who said
Many years before, Byrne in his Shropshire folklore and a man named Roland Brown wrote the saying into a song which was a popular minstrel favourite for many years.
Sorry, folks, gave it too much of a nudge. See if we can do it a bit more gently this time.
Who said that? There never was a good war or a bad peace.
A famous saying by Benjamin Franklin in 1773.
But Cicero also said, unjust peace is better than the justest war. And Samuel Butler used a similar phrase in the English Parliament long before it was written by Franklin. And to round it off, Erasmus also said the same thing hundreds of years before Franklin. Who said that?
First come, first served.
You'd think a saying like this had always been around, but it hasn't.
And the origin is attributed to Ben Jonson, who wrote it into Bartholomew Fair in 1614.
But he wasn't the first to be served by a long shot. In 1368, Chaucer, in Wife of Bath's Tales, wrote, Whoso that first to the mill cometh, first grinds. Who said that? Everyone is at sixes and sevens, meaning that everyone is in a bit of a mess.
Shakespeare, Richard II, in 1595, when he said, everything is left at 6 and 7.
But someone really beat him to it. Chaucer said the same thing in 1374. Who said that?
It's an ill wind that blows no man good.
Easy. Shakespeare, Henry VI, when he said, ill blows the wind that profits nobody.
That's fine, but it was written in 1590. What about John Heywood, who in 1540 wrote, an ill wind that bloweth no man good? Or Thomas Tusser, who wrote the same thing in 1557.
Who said that? If at first you don't succeed, try again.
Shakespeare.
Try again. It was first used by William A. Hickman in a poem and comes from an old saying, for a man falleth down 7 times and riseth up again. Who said that?
You can't have your cake and eat it too.
You can, if you wish, go through a list of authors who've been given the honour of writing this phrase, but they've all borrowed it to a man. It's first noticed in English writings as having been penned by John Hayward in 1546, but it's a proverb of doubtful origin.
Okay, folks, this is all a bit unusual, isn't it? So there's quite a bit of, quite a set of these, 15 on each side. Operation Youth, it says on the label. Who said that? Okay, we'll save some more of those up. There's a few things on the shelf here. There's some acetates which are not labelled. This one here, I have absolutely no dear eye about this. And multiple tracks, again, I don't know what speed it is, anything. We'll just find out on the fly. And it sounds like it might be sound effects. Typing? Some sort of machine noise, perhaps. I'll jump ahead. I'll try side B because there's some longer tracks on side B. So evidently a sound effects record. Of course, the side B's delaminating. We'll see what's possible here. Maybe I've got the wrong speed. Okay, sound effects, no doubt. Alright, I should probably label that myself. Maybe not. We could all be surprised again when I rediscover this disc. What else? There's quite a few interesting bits and pieces on this shelf. This is the ground level shelf. Courier mail stations 4BK and 4AK. Here we go. Standard track vinyl. Robin T. Robert T. Now what's on side B? These are all Robert T advertisements. I'm sure these are from Jamie's collection. He very kindly shared with me some of his doubles, and some of this old broadcast stuff is just fascinating. So what can we glean from this? We'll just cue it up and find out. It's a 33.
Well, Bill, we're certainly pushing along the work on the old Meccano set, eh?
Yes, Tom. This band's going along in fine style. Look, we're right out over the river now. Here, take a look down at them there moving specks.
Yeah, it certainly makes you feel fine being up here out of the hurly-burly. Hey, what do they remind you of?
Oh, for all the world like ants, crawling on an ant-heap.
Well, there she blows. Now for lunch and a jolly good swig of tea.
That's the best thing you've said this morning. And it's all the more welcome because it's Rober tea.
Make Rober tea your choice, too. The tea of consistent quality and taste standard. Write to the Rober Tea Company today for a copy of the Rober free gift catalogue of 300 useful gifts, all of reliable British standard. The deliciousness of Rober tea never varies, so change over to Rober, the purest tea the world can produce. Rober tea, the luxury tea that goes further.
Well, how are you getting on with packing the picnic hamper, Mildred?
I've nearly finished, but I do hope I haven't forgotten anything. Let me see. There's the fowl and the ham, the bread, the fruit. Oh, my goodness.
Well, what have you forgotten?
The most important item of all, the tea.
Well, thank goodness you discovered it in time. Why, the tea certainly is the most important part of the picnic.
Especially when it's Rober.
Make Rober tea your choice, too. Rober, the tea that tastes better and goes further. Rober is the purest tea the world can produce. Write today to the Rober Tea Company for their free gift catalogue of over 300 beautiful gifts, all of reliable British standard. Rober is the tea of unvarying taste standard. Good taste demands Rober, the luxury tea that goes further.
Okay, folks, well, these are all interesting. I have to find a good spot for this record. I don't want to lose it again. El Torito the Bull or something. It's a story for Kiddlywinks, and I'm still very much got the child inside who wants to express itself with a nice healthy dose of nostalgia.
Once far across the ocean in sunny Spain, there was a little baby bull named El Torito and 7 little Spanish boys who hoped someday to become famous bullfighters or toreadors, as they're called in Spain. Bullfighting is a very popular sport in Spain, just as baseball is in our country. And little Spanish boys dream about becoming famous toreadors. Toreadors are men who stand in the bull arena with sword and cape and use their skill to evade the horns of the angry bulls. To become good at anything, it takes a lot of practice. And in every city, town, and village in Spain, one can always see little boys practicing to become toreadors. In one little village, there lived the 7 little boys who were practicing bullfighting all of the time. They were Jose, Carlos, Juan, Esteban, Pancho, Manuel, and Pedro. They used sticks for swords, and they would wave potato sacks for capes. All day long, they would parade through the village, waving their sticks and swirling their capes, in the manner of the real toreadors in the big city of Madrid. In their own mind, they were the greatest of toreadors in all Spain. Outside the village, fenced in a large field, there lived a little baby bull. His name was El Torito. El Torito was a very young bull, and he had no horns on his head, just little bumps where the horns would be someday later on. El Torito was a happy little fellow, as most animals are when unmolested, and he enjoyed prancing around and sometimes scratching his head on the bark of the cork trees that grew in his field. Sometimes, though, El Torito wished there was someone around to play with. It was a little lonesome being all by himself. Back in the village, the boys got tired of just playing at being toreadors. They decided that the time had come to be real toreadors and fight a real bull. Not a big bull, of course, just a little one without horns, one like El Torito. So they started up the road toward the field where El Torito was, waving their sticks and swirling their capes. 7 brave little toreadors. Jose, Carlos, Juan, Esteban, Pancho, Manuel, and Pedro. Standing in his field, El Torito saw the boys approaching, and little El Torito was happy. Here at last were some visitors, little boys who would talk to him and perhaps play with him. He watched them climb the fence into his field, and sure enough, the boys wanted to play. El Torito started to run, and the boys ran after him, shouting, waving their potato sacks, and swinging their sticks. El Torito enjoyed the fun, but suddenly, the sticks began to hit him, and with each hit, El Torito became a little more mad until he finally was very mad indeed, and nobody can get quite as mad as a mad little bull. El Torito was all through playing and charged at the boys, and the little Toreadors ran as fast as their little legs would carry them, but not as fast as El Torito, for he caught up with them and bumped each one of the 7 over the fence. Jose, Carlos, Juan, Esteban, Pancho, Manuel, and Pedro.
Wowsies. There we go. That was all good. Is there more? There's possibly another record. Wrestle it off. El Torito, the Little Bull. Okay, a capital 78 there. There's a bit of a kiddie shelf here with a number of these records sold to young people. Now, what am I doing? I'm trying to make sense of a complicated situation here because I'm drowning in shellac and acetates. I've been testing acetates, been listening to them. There's a whole stack of unlabeled acetate records here, and I don't think I've ever gone through them before. Found someone testing a Steens microphone. This could be interesting at 78. It's a bit of slightly higher quals. This is a home recording. So we can just give that a little sample-matic, I think. See what they say.
You are listening to a test made to record the quality of speech using a Steens Dynamic dynamic microphone and recording at 78 revolutions per minute. Recording at 78 revolutions per minute on an Audex Royal disc. Thank you very much.
Joe Daniels and his Hot Shots and Drumnastics there, and In the Shade of the Old Apple Tree. And I devote that record to Mr. Stew because we passed a very large number of files, testing cartridges, playing that record some years ago. And yes, I think that's a Japanese pressing of that particular record. Usually turns up on a Parlophone, but that is a Nippon Columbia, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Anyhow, we'll just sort of riffing through some records under the shelf here, which I haven't looked at for a very long time. Sort of, some of it's broadcast related, some of it is sort of incidental music, that sort of thing. In fact, the next one is a chapel disc. It's called Monkey Business, and it's got about a dozen locked groove tracks, so little stings or interludes, but they've all got character, and why not persevere with some of this? Series of tracks called Monkey Business, chapel disc, little stings that sort of buttressed events on in the OTR formats when you'd have a radio play or an incidental, a gap for reflection. You would usually have a sting of that kind. They'd be queued up on the table ready to zing, and they weren't locked grooves, so they sort of played out, which is all good. The next one's very interesting, care of Mr. J. And this is from the Ministry of Post-War Reconstruction. It's a propaganda record produced in Australia. These are really, really special, really rare, and they certainly tell a story. So I won't comment on the story, but I'll let the record reveal an hysteric or historic anecdote. I'm vk3sl testing.
I used to be a clerk, salesman, butcher, cook, farmer. I've driven your trams, I've delivered your letter, I've mended your boots. I was a laborer, message boy, truck driver, a builder. I was a reporter, a student, a musician. Yes, I'm one man, yet I'm all men. Right now I'm wearing jungle green up in New Guinea, oil-stained overalls in a munition factory, dungarees dirty with the red dust of the outback. Yes, I'm all of those men. And when I come back from the war, when the munition factories no longer want me, I'll be needing a job. Will there be one for me? Or will it be the same as after the last war?
$19.20. What a life. Plenty of jobs, plenty of money.
Yeah, but look at the prices. They've skyrocketed. It's crazy. It can't last.
$19.21.
I told you it wouldn't last. Look how things are now. We're in for a depression.
Oh, it's only temporary. Things will pick up. You'll see.
$19.27.
There you are. I knew everything would be all right. The papers say we've made a recovery. A slow one, sure, but we're on the right track.
$19.29.
So we've recovered. Recovered for what? The worst depression in the history of the world.
Yes, I guess you're right. What was the use of the war? We won it with our blood, yet we've lost the peace through our neglect.
1930, 1932, 1933, 34, 35. Long, slow years of unemployment, hunger, and want. Slowly, but oh how slowly, the nation made its recovery. By 1939, Australia had struggled towards reasonable prosperity. Unemployment figures had dropped. The sun shone again. Then, war.
Excuse me, but I'll take over from here. War is the people's business. We're the ones who win it or lose it. That we will win, there's no doubt. But will we win the peace? That, too, is our business.
May I interrupt?
It depends on what you have to say. Who are you?
Call me Reconstruction. Post-war Reconstruction.
Your title sounds impressive. What have you to tell us?
Plenty. I have a plan for the peace. I'd like you to tell me what you think of it.
I will.
First of all, there's your job, the one we've planned for you after the war. During the war, the Australian industry expanded by leaps and bounds. Full use must be made of that industry so that there'll be full and continuous employment for all.
That sounds intelligent.
It's not enough to make work available for every man and woman requiring it, but it must be the right work for the individual.
I fully agree.
Many will want training for their job, educating for their professions. University and technical college courses will be open for those eligible. They will receive training, books, living allowances, at the government's expense.
You have planned well.
Thank you. Then there's the housing problem. Slums must go, and in their place there must be solid, modern, hygienic houses of which a man may be justly proud. The people must have social protection from economic setbacks of sickness and disability. The people must develop in a land that is free from, as the Atlantic Charter puts it, free from want, freedom from fear.
That's the post-war Australia we want.
That is the post-war Australia you'll get. But remember, the task will not be easy. Nothing is ever easy in this world. These tasks Australia will face are so big that they must be planned on a national basis. But carrying the plans through to action will tax the resources of all our authorities, whether they're Commonwealth, state or local. Remember, only we the people can help to realize this. It's up to us.
You have been listening to a program presented by the Ministry of Post-War Reconstruction.
La conscience de Victor Hugo. Lorsqu'avec ses enfants, vêtus de peau de bête, échevelés, livides, au milieu des tempêtes, Caïn se fut enfui de devant Jéhovah. Comme le soir tombait, l'homme sombre arriva au bas d'une montagne en une grande plaine. Sa femme, fatiguée, et ses fils hors d'haleine, lui dirent « Couchons-nous sur la terre et dormons. » Caïn, ne dormant pas, songeait au pied des monts. Ayant levé la tête, au fond des cieux funèbres, il vit un œil tout grand ouvert dans les ténèbres et qui le regardait dans l'ombre fixement. « Je suis trop près, dit-il, avec un tremblement. » Il réveilla ses fils dormants, sa femme lasse, et se remit à fuir, sinistre, dans l'espace. Il marcha 30 jours, il marcha 30 nuits. Il allait, muet, pâle, et frémissant au bruit, furtif, sans regarder derrière lui, sans trêve, sans repos, sans sommeil. Il atteignit la grève des mers dans le pays qui fut depuis Assur. « Arrêtons-nous, dit-il, car cet asile est sûr. Restons-y, nous avons du monde atteint les bornes. » Et, comme il s'asseyait, il vit dans les cieux mornes l'œil à la même place au fond de l'horizon. Alors il tressaillit, en proie au noir frisson. « Cachez-moi » cria-t-il, et le doigt sur la bouche, tous ses fils regardaient trembler l'aïeul farouche. Caïn dit à Jabel, père de ceux qui vont sous les tentes de poils dans le désert profond, étend de ce côté la toile de la tente, et l'on développa la muraille flottante. Et quand on l'eut fixé avec des poids de plomb, « Vous ne voyez plus rien, dit-il là, l'enfant blond, la fille de ses fils, douce comme l'aurore. » Et Caïn répondit, « Je vois cet œil encore. » Jubal, père de ceux qui passent dans les bourgs, soufflant dans des clairons et frappant des tambours, cria, « Je saurais bien construire une barrière. » Il fit un mur de bronze et mit Caïn derrière. Et Caïn dit, « Cet œil me regarde toujours. » Enoch dit, « Il faut faire une enceinte de tours si terrible que rien ne puisse approcher d'elle. Bâtissons une ville avec sa citadelle. Bâtissons une ville et nous la fermerons. » Alors, Tubal-Caïn, père des forgerons, construisit une ville énorme et surhumaine. Pendant qu'il travaillait, ses frères, dans la plaine, chassaient les fils d'Énos et les enfants de Seth. Et l'on crevait les yeux à quiconque passait, et le soir, on lançait des flèches aux étoiles. Le granit remplaça la tente au mur de toile. On lia chaque bloc avec des nœuds de fer, et la ville semblait une ville d'enfer. L'ombre des tours faisait la nuit dans les campagnes. Ils donnèrent au mur l'épaisseur des montagnes. Sur la porte on grava « Défense à Dieu d'entrer ». Quand ils eurent fini de clore et de murer, on mit l'aïeul au centre en une tour de pierre. Et lui restait lugubre et hagard. « Oh mon père, l'œil a-t-il disparu ?» dit en tremblant Scylla. Et Caïn répondit, « Non, il est toujours là. » Alors il dit, « Je veux habiter sous la terre, comme dans son sépulcre, un homme solitaire. Rien ne me verra plus, je ne verrai plus rien. » On fit donc une fosse, et Caïn dit, « C'est bien. » Puis il descendit seul sous cette voûte sombre. Quand il se fut assis sur sa chaise, dans l'ombre, et qu'on eut sur son front fermé le souterrain, l'œil était dans la tombe et regardait Caïn.
folks. That was Potpourri from there's more. We'll keep hearing this, actually. It's the music of Pierre-Octave Ferro, played by Robert Aitken. Solo flute music. Beautiful works. 3 of them. And we are currently hearing Jade. It's the music of Pierre Octave Ferraud. 3 pieces for solo flute, written in 1920 and 21. Robert Aitken was the soloist with that. And that was preceded with a potpourri of various source material that sort of fell out of the shelf onto the platters, and we just proceeded with whatever came to hand, including a prescribed French poems text on a Columbia Process record for schools in 1956. It says, it's a whole stack of these. Love hearing the French language. I don't understand it too well, but it's just beautiful to listen to. Well, folks, I'll wind up. I'm sort of getting a bit hot and bothered, tired today. But we will continue for a bit longer while I go and find out what's happening in this place. And I would like to hear another Al Jasbo Collins transcription. These are Armed Forces radio transcriptions from the 1950s. And it's from the Purple Grotto, which was his dive. So, yeah, more Al Jasbo Collins. Interestingly, it's spelled Jasbo, Jazzbeaux, I think it is, or AU. It's not always spelled like that, but in this instance, that's the go. Well, we look forward to your company tomorrow. Should be back. I think everything is travelling okay for the next little while. Probably not next weekend, or maybe. Who knows? We'll just take one step at a time. I'm on holidays. It's a nice vibe, and I wish you all well. Thanks, folks, for listening in, for being a part of it. I'm vk3sl, and we'll stand on by with Al Jasbo for the next 30 minutes.
Or 3.5 stories under the main studios amongst the stalactites and stalagmites. This is Al Collins here with Harrison, the purple Tasmanian owl, our purple mushrooms, the stalactites, Dr. Chirumbolo, and Dr. Caligari, our inventors, and a program of wildness the likes of which you will never. We're going to start out with the little Jimmy McGriff, who plays a kind of organ that I enjoy. I like the way he builds, and I like the way his group stays behind him and gets a good sound. This album is subtitled A Bag Full of Soul, and the label is Solid State. Now, solid state's a couple of words in the near future that you're going to hear on everything. In fact, it's kind of getting a little old now. It first applied to some hi-fi equipment, and then they got into the cameras, and the television sets are all solid state this and solid state that. I mean, if you're a component man, you are nobody these days unless you are a solid state. And that's not bad either, really.
Thank you.
that cat and squeeze it. You better grab that cat and squeeze it completely out if it doesn't straighten up and fly right. Yeah, that's better. Boy, he's whipping and stomping there at all times. Jimmy McGriff from that Solid State. And some of the grooves there are, in fact, so fluid they haven't had time to set yet. They didn't know which way to go there at one point, but I think it all worked out pretty nicely. Not bad at all. Ah, yes. It's very restful down here in the purpleness of the grotto. And I think we'll have Mr. Sinatra stretch a few here for us.
If the nightingales could sing like you, sing much sweeter than they do, 'cause you brought a new kind of love to me. And if the Sandman brought me dreams of you, I'd want to sleep my whole life through. You brought a new kind of love to me. I know that I'm the slave, you're the queen. Still you can understand that underneath it all, you're a maid and I am only a man. I would work and slave the whole day through if I could hurry home to you. You brought a new kind of love to me. Brought a new kind of love to me. I know that I'm the slave, you're the queen. Still you can understand that underneath it all, you are a maid, and I am only a man. I would work and slave the whole day through if I could hurry home to you. You brought a new kind of love. You brought a new kind of love. You brought a new kind of love to me.
Frank Sinatra, and with that song, you're supposed to stick your lower lip all the way out, about 4 feet, and say the title. You say, and stick your lower lip way out. You brought a new kind of love to me. I was talking about saying you brought a new kind of love to me because it is Maurice Chevalier's tune. And I remember when I was about 12 or 13 or something, I got into one of those variety afternoon things that you do in school, and they had me to do that part. And the drama coach, did a real study of Chevalier, and then he gave me a few afternoons and a couple afternoon lessons on how to do it with the straw hat and everything. And I got off pretty good with it. It was a real wild thing. I may have to do that some night or some evening or some morning or sometime, even maybe when I'm completely off the air. But I would like to try it again just for fun. Get some good sounds out of Herbie Mann in his new album, Our Man Flute. That's called Happy Brass. And it kind of sounds more British West Indian than it does Mexican to me, because they use the ocarina, the sweet potato. And it sounds a little bit like the steel drums that they have in the Caribbean. We're going to play another track out of that album. Yeah, that's Herbie Mann, and that's called Good Lovin' from his album Our Man Flute. Well, it's about time we heard a little from Tony Mottola. His new album has some very wild Mexican-type things in it. All this great bandido music coming in, Tony Mottola. And this one is really called Danger or Peligro, Bossa Nova. That was Kind of Pretty by Tony Mottola. Peligro or Peligro Bossa Nova. Here's Ella Fitzgerald now. We haven't heard from Ella here for a couple of weeks, too. I don't know what's going on down here in the purpleness. Har is stealing all the records, and this one finally turned up. It's an old blues album that I kind of like.
Rambling man makes no change in me. I'm gonna ramble back to my used to be. Oh, you hear me talking to you. I don't like my tongue.
Yeah.
You wanna be my man, you gotta fetch it with you when you come. Eve and Adam in a garden taking a chance. Adam didn't take time to get his pants. Ah, you hear me talking to you. Don't bite my tongue. my tongue. You wanna be my man, you gotta fetch it when you come. Hello Central, give me 609. What takes a getting in these? His or mine? Oh, you hear me talking to you. I don't bite my tongue. You wanna be my man? You gotta fetch it with you when you come.
That's Ella Fitzgerald there, and they've got a very good group going for her. Roy Eldridge, and let's see who else is on that date. Wild Bill Davis on organ, and Ray Brown on bass, Herb Ellis on guitar, and the great Gus Johnson on drums. A really beautiful blues album, Trouble in Mind and Cherry Red and Hear Me Talking to You. Ella Fitzgerald. And especially you guys in the service, if you're listening on the Armed Forces Network portion of the show, let us hear from you. We'd be glad to include some stuff for you to hear. And I love getting all that wild mail from wherever you may be to wherever I may be. We're going to hear from Steve Lawrence. He, I think this must be the same old tune, because I never heard of two I'm a Fool's to Want Yous. So this must be. Anyhow, I could have listened to it before now, but, well, I just been down here kind of purple dreaming, you know? Just kind of sitting here for an hour or so, just not thinking about anything in particular. And you know, that's very difficult to do.
I'm a fool to want you. I'm a fool to want you. To want a love that can't be true. A love that's there for others too. I'm a fool to hold you. Such a fool to hold you. To seek a kiss, not mine alone. To share a kiss the devil has known. Time and time again I said I'd leave you. Time and time again I went away. But then come the time when I wouldn't need you. And once again these words I'd have to say. Take me back, I love you. Pity me, I need you. I know it's wrong, it must be wrong, but right or wrong, I can't get along without you. I know it's wrong, it must be wrong, but right or wrong, I can't get along
This is the United States Armed Forces Radio and Television Service.
And you've been listening to a test transmission from vk3sl, testing on 160 and also on UHF. That's the name of the game. Listening to Al Jasbo Collins, Armed Forces radio shows. And I want to find the Elephant's archive of this because I love them. They are just so cool. So, folks, we'll wind it at this point. We'll be back again tomorrow. Thank you for listening in and for your indulgence. Until soon.